Here's how to never run out of ideas and stay in this beautiful, fulfilling zone of creativity whenever you want to. If you think that creativity is available to anyone, you are in the right place because, in my opinion, it's a skill you can master and apply to your work no matter what the external factors of your current situation are. There are 4 things you have to implement into your life to avoid creative burnout: space, stimulant, rest, and practice, all of which I'm gonna talk more about in this video. In my last episode, I shared my top tips on how to never run out of ideas for your YouTube channel. If you've ever felt stuck or were even scared to start a YouTube channel, this is an episode for you. So I highly recommend you watch it before or after this one. In this video, on the other hand, I'd like to share a much broader perspective and show you my way of staying creative basically the whole time, no matter how much life gets in the way or how hard it feels to focus. Hello, it's Marcelina and welcome to Altertonative, where we learn all about creating content, creativity, self-development and running a YouTube channel. I'm from Poland and English is not my native language, as you've already probably have guessed. But I think that no matter where you are in this world, you have the same power of controlling your creative forces to use them to your advantage. For example, as a tool of creating a better, happier life for yourself. This is exactly what I've been doing for over a decade now. Creativity is like a breath of fresh air for me and I need it for living. Also, the most important thing I've learned, and just want to tell you that straight away, and yes, this is the highlight of the whole video, I don't care. You need to hear this now, is that you don't just sit and wait for creative flow to come because it rarely will. You need to evoke it and master starting creative work without it. I've been creating for social media for over 5 years now and I hardly ever felt completely blank or without ideas. Actually, the more ideas I had to come up with, the easier and faster I did it. Somehow, one good idea could spark another one and then another one, and suddenly a snowball effect happens that just picks you up and carries through the work you have to do almost effortlessly. Yes, it really feels like this at times. Let me show you now how to get there. The worst thing that stays on your way to evoke your creativity is the huge amount of information and content you consume every day. Just think about it. Your brain is not adapted to having so many ideas and so many impulses in such a short amount of time. You fill your thoughts with things created by somebody else, and your brain is occupied by processing everything you consume most of the time. This is why artists and inventors are such great advocates of spending time in nature, and I also really love this idea. If I ever feel stuck, or what's even worse, I can't get something out of my head, I go for a walk to let my thoughts flow. This is an amazing opportunity to give your brain some space, which you can then fill in with your own ideas. And of course, spending time in nature is not the only way to give your thoughts some space. Have you ever had a sudden idea when hoovering your apartment or taking a shower? Activities which engage your body but not necessarily your mind are a fantastic alternative. Usually you don't focus on your problems when cleaning your house or the dishes. You simply let your thoughts flow. When I can't go for a walk, my next favorite thing to do is cooking. It engages my focus and lets me practice multitasking while my thoughts remain calm and clear. Just be careful not to procrastinate on those give it space tasks. Over the time, I found that I sometimes do it. For example, when there's a difficult creative task ahead of me, I do everything else just to avoid it. There are ways to fight procrastination, but that's a huge topic for another video. Creativity is a skill. It's like a muscle. It needs rest, after a hard day of work, but it also needs some stretching. So the next step in my creative routine is to stimulate my brain to broaden my horizons and learn thinking outside the box. If there's an issue or a topic I'd like to explore, I search for quality resources I can use for my research. I usually start with books. Over the years, I gathered a nice collection of positions from self-development, business, marketing, and productivity catalog. These are actually books that you should read or look into a couple of times. Otherwise, the knowledge you get can quickly flee. I often take notes when reading such books, so then it's even easier for me to find the right one I'd like to reference to, for example, in my video or Instagram post. I also like to note down my favorite quotes, though they are in Polish, so if I wanted to use them in English, I'd have to look for the original one online. Of course, I'm not able to find everything in books, and moreover, I like to compare what I've learned with other people's opinions. Therefore, I like to stretch my point of view by watching tutorials, videos, or listening to podcasts. I love learning from other creators, it's very exciting, yet again, you have to be careful with that. There's a temptation to start only consuming content instead of then taking action. It's good to give yourself time frames, like let's say 2 hours, to make sure you are not spending too much time on passive consumption. Watching videos or listening to podcasts are also a great solution when you are short on time, because you can do some research while cooking or cleaning or even commuting to work or to school. Letting yourself have some time to rest can work miracles. I used to never understand that, because when that snowball effect of one idea prompting another was happening, I thought that rest would only disrupt it. However, when the snowball gets too big, it can cause an avalanche, and that's how I began to feel. Overwhelmed and overloaded with work. Something I used to call creativity started to look more like repurposing content all the time. I mean, it's not a bad thing because you want to work smart, but you also want to make progress, and it will not happen if you only come up with the same things over and over again. Even if it works at the beginning, after a while your audience might get bored, and you definitely would like to avoid that. So what's the difference between resting and giving yourself some space for creativity? Resting means a proper chill, like having a nap or sunbathing. It means fun and entertainment, such as watching a Netflix show, going out with friends, going on a date. Depending on whether you are physically or mentally tired, choose something that will reset you properly. The key is to do something completely different to what you usually do, even if this activity is not your passion. For example, I love creating content, traveling, and taking photos, but when there's too much pressure, I get overwhelmed and stressed, which doesn't favor my creativity. This is the moment I have to totally cut myself off from everything related to those things to make sure I can come back rested and with a fresh mindset. How to do it when you are already too busy and too late with all your creative work? I like to think about it this way. Just imagine that suddenly you are getting sick and you can't finish all of your work anyway. What's gonna happen? Are you gonna lose everything? Or maybe you just can ask if you can postpone something, or maybe nothing will happen at all. It's just in your mind. If that's the case, there's no reason not to take a good rest. When I convince myself to take a break, I always come back with more energy and sometimes even finish my work earlier than if I kept on going tired, because it obviously slows me down. So the 3 first tips were actually focused on creating a perfect room for creativity, a place where it can thrive and give you the best results. But now let's dive into creativity as a skill itself. I love to call it my creativity workout routine because you need to practice it to get better, to become stronger and more confident. So blocking some time for creativity sessions is like going to the gym, thus following a workout routine. The best advice I got is to practice creativity as much as I can, but of course when the times are hard, I barely find time to do any creative work, plus my mind is often somewhere else and I can't focus. To fight that lack of focus, I decided to create a habit of simply starting my work and trigger getting right into the creative mindset. I created a playlist of songs I know really well and that I'm not that excited about, so they don't interrupt me while I'm working. I also need to have a glass of water, which is 2/3 still cold water, a dash of hot water and a dash of sparkling water. This gives me my favorite water mixture, which I always associate with creative work. What's more, I created a habit of getting up early every weekday, so I can do some creative work in the morning when no one is going to disturb me. I'm a lark, so I love working in the morning, and that's the time when I can have some best ideas, so I don't want to waste it. I'm not gonna lie, there are times when I can't be bothered getting out of my warm and comfy bed, but in most cases I'm able to motivate myself to get up and start working. The hardest is always the first step. Thanks to those habits, I practice my creativity skills almost every day. This means I can deliver Instagram posts and YouTube videos even when I'm really busy or when the times are hard. Creative work comes almost effortlessly for me. Yet, it's difficult sometimes to simply begin. Because of that, I only stop practicing to give myself space, rest and stimulate my brain, and the circle repeats as often as it can. I really hope that this video will help you with your creative work. Maybe you get a chance to look at it from a different perspective. Maybe I managed to motivate you to create your own creativity workout routine. Please don't forget to let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please leave the thumb up so I know it's the topic I should talk about more in my future videos. And if you don't want to miss any of them, I will appreciate your support in the form of clicking that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!